Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Round the Summer Solstice Fire, celebrating 50 years, 50th anniversary of Pagan Federation. Pagan Federation, as we just noticed, was established in 1971. And many things have happened since then. But I'd like to start first with a reflection of the season that we're celebrating, and we're coming up to summer solstice. And I'd like to share a few words about why we're here and our spiritual connection. We are here today to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Pagan Federation, gathering together as we celebrate the power and energy of the sun. The sun is a source of warmth and light around the world. At the summer solstice, we mark the longest day of the year. From Yule until this day, the sun has been moving ever closer to the earth. Flowers are blooming, crops are growing, and life has returned once more. Today, we honor the gods and goddesses of the sun. The sun is the ultimate source of fire and light. Like all sources of light, the sun shines brightly and spreads around the world. Even as it gives its light and power to each of us, it is never diminished by the sharing of that energy. The sun passes over us every day in the never-ending circle of light. Today, we share that light with each other, passing it around the circle, forming a ring of light. May you be warmed and rejuvenated by the light of the sun. Hail to you, mighty gods and goddesses of the sun. Gods who bring us light, we honor you. Hail Ra, whose mighty chariot brings us light each morning. Hail Apollo, who brings us the healing energies of the sun. Hail Sol, whose fertility blooms as the sun gains in strength. Hail Helios, whose great steeds race the flames across the sky. Hail Hestia, whose sacred flame lights our way in the darkness. Hail Suna, who is sister of the moon and bringer of the light. We call upon you today, thanking you for your blessings, accepting your gifts. We draw upon your strength and energy, your healing light, and your life-giving power. Hail to you, mighty gods and goddesses of the sun. Hail to you, mighty goddesses and goddesses of the sun. We ask also for healing energy to all those who can't be with us today, all those grieving from the effects of COVID, all those that in some way are not able to be with us today. We would also like to acknowledge all the ancestors connected with Pagan Federation. all the beloved ones whose light is still being felt in Pagan Federation, in Scotland, the United Kingdom, and of course, all the countries where PFI is also situated. Hail to you, mighty gods and goddesses of the sun. Blessed be. And now I would like to introduce our first guest. As I've just said, PFI is known in many different countries. And today I would like to honor our friends from the Slavic countries, but also those people for who summer solstice is an extremely important festival, where in the middle of the winter, the sun is virtually disappeared. But at summer solstice, they can also experience the midnight sun. And boy, do they celebrate. So Anastasia, I would like to hand over the microphone to you, and let's hear a little bit more about summer solstice in the Slavic tradition. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I want to congratulate the Pagan Federation on 50th anniversary. The Pagan Federation has come a long way and has already gone down in history as an organization uniting pagans from all over the world. I want to wish the Pagan Federation prosperity, reinforcement of his ranks with new enthusiasts, and at least another 50 years of way. It's great the PF continues to evolve by attracting new people. In Russia, not every pagan knows about Pagan Federation, but many people, many pagans from Moscow and St. Petersburg know, love, and attend the monthly pub held under the auspices of PF and PFI. I also started my way to PFI more than 3 years ago with the visit of one pub in Moscow. I am so happy to join the large PFI family and represent Russia. Since today's online meeting is associated not only with the 50th anniversary of the Pagan Federation, but also with the approaching summer solstice, I would like to talk a little about how pagans celebrate this event in Russia. Before coming to the Gardnerian tradition of Wicca, I was a Slavic pagan for a long time, and therefore my presentation is connected with the traditions and rituals of the Slavic pagans on the summer solstice. So I would like to share with you some photos. The summer solstice festival, Kupala, also called Ivan Kupala, is a traditional Slavic holiday that was originally celebrated on the shortest night of the year, which is on 21 to 22 or 23 to 24 of June. The celebration relates to the summer solstice when nights are the shortest and includes a number of Slavic rituals. The name of the holiday was originally Kupala, a pagan fertility rite later adapted into the Orthodox Christian calendar by connecting it with St. John's Day, which is celebrated on 24 June. Eastern Christianity uses traditional Julian calendar, which is misaligned with actual solstice. 24 June is Julian calendar, falls on 7 July in more modern Gregorian calendar. Many of the rites related to this holiday are connected with the role of water in fertility and ritual purification. This is due to the ancient Kupala rites. On Kupala Day, young people jump over the flames on bonfires in a ritual test of bravery and faith. The failure of a couple in love to complete the jump while holding hands is a sign of their destined separation. Young girls made wreaths from flowers and fern, which apparently was a sacred plant for this celebration, tossed them into rivers, and on the basis of how and where they floated, foretold each other how they would get married. Ritual bathing on this night was also very important, hence the name of Kupala, from Proto-Slavic kupati, to bath, which probably fit nicely with folk translation of the future patron saint the church installed for this festival, John the Baptist. Overall, the whole festivity probably celebrated a divine bathing of fertility god, associated with growth of plants for harvest. This is an ancient Kupala belief that the eve of Ivan Kupala is the only time of the year when ferns bloom. Prosperity, luck, discernment, and power befall whomever finds a fern flower. Therefore, on that night, village folk roam through the forest in search of magical herbs and especially the elusive fern flower. Traditionally, a married woman, signified by the garlands on their hair, are the first to enter the forest. They are followed by young men. Therefore, the quest of fine herbs and the fern flower may lead to the blooming of relationships between pairs within the forest. The main god of this holiday is Yarila, the personification of the sun itself. Yarila is a Slavic god of vegetation, fertility, and springtime. The Slavic root yar means spring or summer or strong. He was a fairly typical life-death rebirth deity, believed to be reborn and killed every year. His mythical life cycle followed by yearly life of various wood plants, from seeding through vegetation to harvest. Some neo-pagans identify Yarila with Greek Dionysus, as they are both gods of fertility, forest, and youth, who die and rise again. For the celebration, young women are preparing a doll made of green branches, which has the name of Yarila. This doll is placed under a tree and with wreaths and ribbons, and young women dance around, glorifying Yarila. During the round dance, the doll falls and dies. Yarila died and Dashbok was burned. So the sun youth, the spring sun, became the sun husband, the hot summer sun. From the prepared fire, a funeral procession is sent to the field. They bury the doll of Yarila on a previously prepared funeral fire. Kupala rituals are associated with one of its main elements, water and fire. On this day, fire and water are combined. Bonfires are an irreplaceable part of this holiday. They personify a cleansing and transforming force capable of driving away all evil spirits. A main bonfire is prepared in advance with a long pole in the middle, on which a wheel with six spokes is placed. Separately, a funeral bonfire for a doll was installed, and a small bonfire through which young women and young men will jump. It should burn not far from a large bonfire, but so that it will be possible to have a round dance. The lights are lit in evening after sunset, and they burn, most often, until the morning. People jump over fires to get protection from the evil eye damage, to get cleansing from disease. Couples jump over the fire holding hands. It is believed that if you jump holding together to the end, there will be a quick wedding and a long life together. In the morning, the women scoop up the dew. Morning dew also carries the power of this day's water. For this, a clean tablecloth and container for collecting dew are taken, with which the women go to the field. With the tablecloth, they pass over the wet grass and then squeeze it into a container. After that, they wash their face and hands with this dew in order to drive away any illness and be more beautiful. At dawn, the celebration ends. After a magical night, people go to meet the rising sun. Kupala, without a doubt, is one of the brightest, strongest, and most ancient Slavic holidays. So, I would like to share with you some photos of the Slavic summer solstice.
Thank you, Anastasia.
So this is all that I wanted to tell about the Slavic celebration of the summer solstice. Once again, I want to thank the PFI and personally you, Morgana, for the opportunity to take part in today's Zoom meeting. I wish Pagan Federation and PFI a lot of energy and prosperity. I congratulate everyone on the close summer solstice, wish fulfillment on desires, strength, and inspiration. Blessed be. And if it's possible, I would like to share with all a little video about how the Slavic pagans celebrate the summer solstice. Can you help me, Morgana?
How wonderful. And I expect you'll be celebrating Cupola very, very soon, Anastasia. Many, many thanks. And again, thank you and blessings at summer solstice. I'd like to move on now, actually still staying in a Slavic country, but this time we're going to be looking back at some of the things that PFI have actually shared with, and we are very, very honored to be able to introduce, first of all, Martina or Israfela from PFI Bulgaria. She was the former national coordinator, but is now living in the United Kingdom. So I'd like to introduce, first of all, Martina. Is Martina with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
There.
Hello.
There you go. Martina, we celebrated the Spring Symposium in Bulgaria in 2019. There are a couple of people on this call actually who are also part of that. Angel was there, but so I think, and Petra, and I think they will be absolutely thrilled to see what Georgi is going to show us. So could you explain a little bit more about how PFI Bulgaria has been connecting with local pagans, and a little bit more about yourself and Georgi Mishev?
Yeah, sure, of course. Hello, everyone. As Morgana said, I used to be the former coordinator for PFI Bulgaria when I lived there. Now I live in England. But even though I still keep close connection with friends and people in Bulgaria, and whenever there's a chance and I go back home, I meet regularly with those people. Well, I actually first met Morgana in 2012 when she came for a visit for a Plovdiv meet and greet event. I'm from Plovdiv, and actually the PFI Spring Symposium was held in Plovdiv as well. It's the second biggest town in Bulgaria, and it's in a crossroads between the West and East, and it has a lot of layers of culture. So it was the perfect place to have the symposium there. There were regular meetings and gatherings that were held between when the first connection with PFI was established. And that's how we met as well. Morgana met Georgi Mishev, and I think he came to that event actually in 2012 as well. And ever since, we've been keeping the connection. And actually, as part of the program of the PFI Symposium in 2019, Georgi gave a presentation, he gave a talk on the sacred architecture of the Thracians. We did have various guest speakers and stalls and music, but we did also have an organized excursion, which was to a nearby, not far from Plovdiv, a village called Starosel. It's got a Thracian cult center there, which possibly has been a temple. We visited that, but we also had the chance to visit the Georgi Mishev's place of worship, and he kindly also shared the video today of the temple and of the place which you're about to see. When I visited with the participants, with Angel, with Morgana and Petra and everybody who visited the symposium, it was really amazing to be there. And I have to say, when you see the video, there's been so much that has changed, and you can just see the beautiful work that's been done. And I think before to start the video, I could say a couple of words, if you would like, Morgana, about Georgi as well. So Georgi Mishev, as I mentioned, he's a Bulgarian author and researcher in ancient culture and religion of the Mediterranean world. He specializes in magic practices, rituals, and ancient relics in the folklore of the Balkans. He's got a bachelor degree in German and Russian languages and a master's degree in the preservation of cultural historical heritage in Bulgaria, with a master thesis on subject of Thracian material and immaterial historical cultural heritage of the immaterial cultural historical heritage in the region of actually the Thracian cult center Starosel. He's got a doctoral degree as well in the field of cultural historical heritage, with a subject on thesis in traditional culture as information resource about the magic in ancient Southeastern Europe. He's also the author of Thracian Magic book, and in his forthcoming book is also called Washing Rituals. So we can go ahead and see the video.
Hello dear friends, welcome to Starosel, Bulgaria, Southeast Europe, the Balkan Peninsula, Earth, of course. Welcome to a place dedicated to the great goddess, which we call as the Triple One, the threefold goddess, the goddess of the three ways, invoked and called and worshipped as Hecate, as Bendis in these lands, as Phosphoros also. A place dedicated to her and to Dionysus, which was called Sabazios and Zagreus by the ancient Thracians. A place dedicated and connected with other deities which are worshipped here. But now I will take you to look around this place of worship, not called a temple, because the temple is only one part of it. The sacred garden dedicated to the gods and to the goddess especially, with a huge amount of plants used as in antiquity as nowadays in a lot of rituals. And at first we should begin with the first stop, the first place where we stop when visiting the temple. It is a symbolic crossroad where is the first altar of the goddess. As you see, it is a millstone, and the millstone is connected with the idea that everything changes and we give our work and our deeds to the gods, that we change ourselves and the world around us. We are moving counterclockwise because we go to greet the sun and we do not follow the path of the sun. We are going to meet the sun god. Here you can see a lot of plants, a lot of magical plants. They are used in the folk magic here and not only. A lot of us know about some plants which are used in ancient times and are connected with the goddess, but actually these poisonous plants, because the most of them are poisonous, are only one very small amount of plants which are used in rituals and in magic and in the worship of the gods. So we are going to east, and here before the entrance we have installed the sacred fountain with an image of Orpheus, because Orpheus is the big initiator, to call him so. It is said by the ancient that actually Orpheus is this one who has brought the mysteries and the rites and the worship of the gods to the Greeks, and because of that the worship of the gods is called Treskeia, from Orpheus being a Thracian. The sacred fountain was installed 1 week before, but it is missing still the water supply. It's something which will be done in the next some weeks, and the purpose of the fountain is a very logical one. You need the water, you need to wash yourself, to purify yourself before going into the temple. And here we are at the entrance. The cat is maybe a special one, maybe a very special worshipper of the goddess. But but actually maybe she's only taking a rest there. So in the temple it is allowed to go one by one, always in the presence of a priest or a priestess. They are sitting there, they are helping, they are supporting, they are giving advices how to do their offerings, how to do the rituals, how to do the prayers, if you need such a support. If you do not need the priest or the priestess, they are just sitting there. So we're going from the right side into the temple. In the middle of the temple, it is a sacred pit for offerings. It is a sacred stone dedicated to Hermes. And in the center from the northwest side, it is the good image of the goddess and the god. We are going again counterclockwise in the temple, and after being ready with the prayers, with the worship, and so on, we are going out from the left side, because we are taking always a different path. We do not cross the paths to life, to death, to initiation, after initiation. So you go out, and after that you go to the sacred fireplace. The sacred fireplace is for burning the ritual offerings, of course. It is from the east side of the temple. It is on the east side of the temple. All of these small windows, they are connected with the directions, and you have the east window, the north window is there, and the other two ones. The east side is connected with the sun god, of course. We have the horizon from the east. With the rising sun, we bring the offerings, and the fire is giving them away, or is bringing them to the gods. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you.
So wasn't that amazing, Martina? I'd love to go back, and I'm sure it's important for everybody to also realize that because of our connection with Georgie, PFI has also helped with donations, and everybody who would like to donate and would like to help Georgie complete this project, and the people that he's working with, of course, then you will definitely be very, very welcome. We'll be putting a lot of this information on the PFI forum as an update, also about the speakers. So don't worry if you can't catch everything. We will definitely keep you all up to date with the latest about what's been happening. So Martina, thank you ever so much for joining us. Would you like to add anything, or has anybody got any questions? Anybody got any questions for Martina? I think that they're all stunned, actually, Martina. So I think we'll have to have another gathering in Plovdiv. It's absolutely beautiful, and as I say, it's just worth visiting Plovdiv, if not the whole of Bulgaria. I'm still hoping to go back to the Rhodope Mountains. It's just amazing. So again, Martina, let's hope that we'll be back in soon.
Absolutely. We should organize another event as soon as possible. And there've been even more interesting site visits that could happen related not only to the archaeological museum, but other interesting spots have been opened recently. So it will be great to meet again there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anyway, thanks again for everything, and
thank you for the invitation. Blessed be.
So I'd like to move on now to the heart of the matter. Pagan Federation, 1971. I was actually looking yesterday to find out which songs were around in 1971, and the first one I found was Riders on the Storm from The Doors. Yay! Jim Morrison, who was also very much connected with the occult, as we know. So Selena, you'll be very pleased to know that we started the Pagan Federation in a good year. It was a good year. So I'd like to ask Sarah now, who is the current president of the Pagan Federation, to come and join us now and give us a little bit of an insight in Pagan Federation 50 years, a bit of a reflection. Sarah, go ahead.
Thank you, Morgana. Thank you, everyone. It's lovely to be here. As some of you will know, this is just one event in a year's worth of celebrations, because we've got a lot to celebrate. Just going to share my screen with you here. There we go. So yes, 50 years, Beltane 1971, the Pagan Federation officially began as the Pagan Front. The seeds were planted for the Pagan Federation that we all know back in 1968, when a small newsletter called The Wiccan began. It was started by our founder, John Score, otherwise known as M, to keep a small group of Gardnerians in touch. But it quickly grew. It became very clear that there were more people in need of this kind of publication, and that they weren't just Gardnerians either. By 1970, the group were working in earnest to campaign successfully here in the UK against the introduction of an anti-witchcraft bill introduced by the MP at the time, Gwilym Roberts. It was decided that more needed to be done, and so the Pagan Front was announced in September 1970 and then ratified officially at Beltane 1971 with a ritual written by Doreen Valiente herself. And it's now, I would imagine that most of you would know this poem, but this poem is the one that she read at the inauguration. Friends that in the circle stand, heart to heart and hand to hand, bringing Beltane to the land, let the sleeper awake. Let the flames of Beltane burn, may the old ones now return, may we of their magic learn, let the sleeper wake. Let the streams and fields be pure, earth and sky be clean no more. Once more, sorry. Love and laughter long endure, let the sleeper wake. Forests spreading, peace returning, where the pagan fires are burning, now the inner light discerning, let the sleeper wake. May the ladies touch again, rest upon the barren plain, with the sunshine and the rain, let the sleeper wake. Beltane magic, here we sing, chant the rune and dance the ring. Joy and blessing shall it bring, let the sleeper wake. Blessed be. No matter where we are in the world, And no matter which PF we are a part of, membership was then and still is open to pagans of all kinds, whatever their occult commitments may be or none. For as Doreen said in her opening speech, unity is strength, and I welcome the fraternal unity of all sincere people who follow the pagan path. We may not always agree with each other, but we must support each other in our struggle for our right to follow the religion and lifestyle of our choice in the modern world. They're words that we all still hold to today across the world together as we continue the work that began 50 years ago. Since then, the Pagan Federation across the world and together with our sister organisations has been busy campaigning and working to support all pagans in having the same rights as followers of other beliefs and religions, as our aims have always guided us to. We've always aimed to promote paganism positively and to provide reliable and trustworthy information to the media, official bodies, and the wider community too. But what does that actually mean in practice? What have we done over the last 50 years to meet those aims? We've worked with governments and their varying officers to ensure that the rights of pagans are enshrined in law, such as appealing against the Anti-Witchcraft Act in the early 70s, secured a religious exemption here in the UK to be able to carry knives securely to and from rituals. We've appealed against anti-nudity provisions within our own Public Order Act, giving prisoners access to pagan chaplains and getting a pagan oath available for pagans to swear on when they're in court. Alongside that, we were key in turning the tide against the satanic ritual abuse myth in the late 80s. And here in England, we have worked alongside the Interfaith Network UK, the Religious Education Council, the police and the court system, the United Nations, and most recently, we joined the Network for Pastoral, Spiritual and Religious Care in Health to ensure a better understanding around pagans and their beliefs and practices. Would anyone else like to add anything to this, to our achievements? Morgana, Selena?
Well, I'd just like to add, of course, that a little bit about PFI, actually, because we definitely are what we call now an affiliated organisation of Pagan Federation, along with PFI Deutschland. I'm sorry that there don't seem to be many of our German friends this afternoon, perhaps are watching the live stream. It was clear by the mid 80s, and certainly by the 90s, that there was still a lot of work to be done. And of course, we started spreading to the continent. And that was when, of course, PFI started. Again, we had the tide with us because everybody was connecting to the internet. So again, connecting with pagans throughout the world was becoming a little bit easier. And of course, it was people like Selena Fox who also supported PFI right from the early days, which is a good way of actually asking Selena now to perhaps recall some of her connections with PFI, both in America, but also internationally. Please go ahead, Selena.
Wow, it is great to be with everyone here. And I bring greetings to Pagan Federation and PFI. It is wonderful to be here at the 50th anniversary. My own journey in public pagan ministry began in 1971. So that was a good year as far as I'm concerned. I had contact as Circle Sanctuary started its formation in the 1970s. Part of our work was networking and continues to be. And we forged alliances with Pagan Federation from its earliest days, back when it was known as the Pagan Front. And one of the first ways we started our connection was with the exchange of our publications. So yes, I had postal mail correspondence with him, also known as John Scone, and we exchanged our publications in the early days. What we now have as our quarterly Circle Sanctuary News began as Circle Network News and then became Circle Magazine. So it's made some transformations over the years. Also had contact with Doreen Valente, and am very thankful for that relationship. And again, it was by postal mail because that was the pre-cyber age. And I am thankful for the networking with contacts, the work with religious freedom, exchanging information and collaborating, being partners in the quest for a world with equality, liberty, and justice for all people. So we have within Circle Sanctuary Lady Liberty League and have been involved with supporting Pagan Federation and PFI on a variety of its quest to get equal rights, not only in the UK, but around the world. And I do think it's important for all of us to be able to join together, find the common ground. And now I'm going to invite the screen to shift so I can show you some summer solstice things. I have a multicultural, multilingual, multiracial, international, ancestral heritage. So I have some English, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, some Swedish. So in celebration of this midsummer time, I will show you the Swedish maypole, which is a bit different than the English maypole. And people dance the maypole at midsummer. Circle Sanctuary has its main international event at summer solstice. So it is so fabulous to be with all of you. And I'm especially thankful for the international interreligious collaboration with Pagan Federation International and Pagan Federation. Morgana and I have gone into the realm of international interreligious conferences and networking. And I have a globe that I take around and use at rituals at the international conferences. I want to give thanks to Morgana and all the other people from Pagan Federation as a whole and PFI in particular for your support of the Parliament of the World's Religions, United Religions Initiative, the Compassion, Charter for Compassion. There are so many fabulous interreligious, international, multilingual, multicultural endeavors that we as pagans are now part of. We have a seat at the table. We are there, we are getting respected, and it's essential that we continue our alliances, that we stop the hate, we bring about more love. And finally, I'd like to share with you, what is this? Spirit bags. Every summer solstice, our community does this tradition, making little amulet bags. We've had pandemic for the last 2 years, so Pagan Spirit Gathering has been online, but we're continuing the tradition. And this whole month, we're celebrating as Midsummer Month, and I am so excited to have as part of my own Midsummer celebrations in Circle Sanctuary joins you with your 50th anniversary celebration. We are continuing to reflect over the good things that Pagan Federation has done over the last 50 years And it's my hope we all will continue our alliances and bring forth even more rights and equality and celebration as we converge the diversity of pagans around the world, and yes, off planet, as we go to the International Space Station and the moon and other places. We're doing a lot of that in our dreams, but there have been pagans in space in the American space program, I will say, and it's so fabulous to be with all of you. And finally, I will show you one of the sun images that we use for solstice. This represents the Americas. This particular sun image came from one of our priestesses with Mexican-American heritage. So bright blessings to Pagan Federation, bright blessings to Pagan Federation International, bright blessings to all of you here live and all of you watching later. May we work together and shine the light of freedom and equality, love, peace, joy, justice, and sustainable environmental futures. So be it.
Thank you, Selena. It was wonderful seeing you. And I do hope we will be sharing again. Selena and I have been at most of the Parliament of World Religions. In fact, I met Selena actually in real life, finally, after many years, in 2004 in Barcelona. And we will be joining forces again for the Parliament of World Religions virtual event, 17th, 18th of October. I hope I'll be able to get to America soon. It's at least we can get together online in this sense as well. So I'm absolutely thrilled, Selena, that you were able to make it, and I do owe you so much because you've really helped bring paganism to the international scene, but you were always very courteous to ask us from PFI if we had connections with pagans in Russia and all over the place. So I was very grateful that you also used Pagan Federation resources as well. So many thanks. Again, working together, you're not alone, but we do respect that each and all of us have our own paths. And I think that's one of the things that you've always really emphasized, Selena. So very many thanks. I say you are a star. Thank you. Sarah, coming back to Sarah, would you like to add anything else? Are there any questions? Are there any questions for Sarah or for me? I think you're all blown away.
I would, if it's possible, Morgana, like to share my screen again. I have a list of names from people in the Pagan Federation here in the UK that I would just like to note and thank for their efforts and their time.
Absolutely, yes, because again, 50 years, quite a number of people have passed over, of course, and I think it's more than appropriate to also acknowledge them. So please go ahead.
Okay, so this isn't everyone by a long shot. Some are well known in the pagan world and some are less known, but their contributions have most definitely not been any the less for that. And each and every one of us owes each of them a debt of gratitude for the energy they dedicated to furthering our cause. Some are sadly no longer with us in this world, and some we are privileged to still be able to work alongside today. This list is not definitive and is in no particular order either, though I think if I had tried to list every person who is deserving of merit, we would be here for the next several hours. When I'm finished, I invite you all to please add names to this list. John Score, Prudence Jones, Jean Williams, Zach Cox, John and Kitty McIntyre, Chris and Vivian Crowley, Pete Jennings, Belinda Winder, Michelle Edwards, Pam Gardner, Pat Pitts, Steve Ludford, Dave Bracey, Barry Bartholomew, Morgana, Ray Sweeney, Adrian and Anne Byrne-Evans, Cassandra Latham, Lindsay Long, Mike Stegall, and finally my predecessor, Robin Taylor. I would also like to offer my thanks and gratitude to the current PF committee, who are Emma Hall, Chris Holmes, Keith Tovey, Rich Blackett, Dan Coltas, Andrew Trozok, Helene Mobius, Melissa Wheeler, Anne Edward, and Lee Smith. Their dedication and their time and effort astounds me each and every day, and we have achieved so much this last year. I thank them all. Does anyone else have any names that they'd like to add to that list?
I'm sure there are lots of people. One person that brings to mind is Melissa Harrington, who is still doing a lot of work in the Northwest, my own back garden in Lancashire. But there are just so many. And again, I think we'll probably on the PFI forum, we will keep an update of this. We'll keep this events page open so that we can also refer to many of the things that Pagan Federation has also achieved, also what we've achieved also, as I said, in Germany and elsewhere, America. And so I think we'll keep the event page open on the forum so people can read the updates. But thanks again for reminding us. Yes.
Just lastly, I would like to say
the future is bright.
Yes, the future is bright. Here in England, we are busy beavering away at the moment on an application for the Pagan Federation to become a real honest charity. So there are exciting times ahead of us now. We are not slowing down. We might well be 50, but we're just picking up the pace. We're about to apply to become a charity, and this will allow us to further our work, and we'll enjoy some key benefits here, which can only help us further our aims. These are just some of them. It's going to allow us to reach even further and help even more people. So a huge thank you to you all for being here today and for listening to me ramble on about the PF and everything it's done over the years. I hope it's been interesting. And I believe now we're going to share poems and stories, Morgana.
Well, if we're getting to the end of the official hour, I'd just like to mention somebody who has been of quite a lot of importance to both Pagan Federation and to PFI, and that is actually Dam the Bard. Dam the Bard, we haven't mentioned Dam. And of course, I met him many years ago at one of the conferences in Devon and Cornwall, but he also rallied when the people in the Czech Republic asked me if Dam the Bard would come to the Czech Republic and perhaps give a concert, because everybody was absolutely enthralled about his music. And what we didn't know was they also gave workshops. So he was more than happy. So way back when, I think it was about 2008, even quite a long time ago anyway, Dam the Bard joined us in Prague and gave a wonderful series of concerts and workshops, and continues to this day to support Pagan Federation and Pagan Federation International. So what I'd like to do is close this official part of the meeting with actually one of our favorite songs from Dam the Bard. And I think when you realize, you'll probably realize again how much this song has really resonated with us all in PFI. And after that, we'll then close the meeting, and then everybody is invited to share stories, and we can let our hair down. So you can tell the dirty stories. So bear with us. We'll officially close the meeting now with, I hope you enjoy this rendering of Dam the Bard's Spirit of Albion. So bear with me. Just a second. Oops.
An isle so fair, an isle so green, known by many names. the pulse of the land, the blood boils within your veins. Someone go down to the holy well and raise the spirits there. Lay a feather on a stone with a flame and a lock of hair. The crane, the wolf, the bear and the boar no longer dwell upon these shores. You say the goddess and God have gone, but I tell you they live on, for in the cities and hills and in circles of stone, the voices of the old ways, the spirit of Albion is calling you home. From man or Weathen's crashing sea to the moor and the Highland glen, from the fairy hills home of the Shee to the veins of the Broad and the Fen, someone go down to the holy trees of oak and ash and thorn, utter a charm in the verse of 3 till the summer king is born. The crane, the wolf, the bear and the boar no longer dwell upon these shores. You say the goddess and God have gone, but I tell you they live on, for in the cities and hills and in circles of stone, the voices of the old ways, the spirit of Albion is calling you home. Ride the white horses carved into the hills, walk to the hanging stones, bow to the might of Carnabas's height, for the peace in the ancestors' home. Someone go down to Wilmington where the giant guards the way. Step into the other world, into the womb where centuries pass like a day. The crane, the wolf, the bear and the boar no longer dwell upon these shores. You say the goddess and God have gone, but I tell you they live on, for in the cities and hills and in circles of stone, the voices of the old ways, the spirit of Albion is calling you home.
So I hope that brings back a lot of memories. Oh, hang on. Oh my gosh. There's no stopping Dan when he gets started. But he's actually heading a project at the moment. So do look at Dan's work on, he has a podcast. So he's been absolutely brilliant. I did invite him this afternoon, but probably too short notice. But we're definitely still very much a great fan of Dan the Bard, and I hope we will get him to come to the Netherlands. I mean, it's just wonderful. We have a couple of our own pagan bands, but I still think he should be coming to Castlefest. And there'll be quite a few people here who will probably be very, very happy if Dan the Bard came to Castlefest. So we should suggest that one time. So the couple of people from the Netherlands here, we shouldn't forget that. So Sarah, well, there you go. An hour of sharing our memories. But I would just like to finish now by thanking all of you for joining in this meeting. And of course, the work will not stop. You're all very, very welcome to follow us on all the Facebook pages. And you don't have to be a member of the Pagan Federation or even PFI to support us, because we're open, and our mission statement is still to defend the rights of pagans. And as Selena has just pointed out, Lady Liberty, that's one of the things that we really, really do want to stress, that let's be proud of being a pagan and happy to be a heathen. Yay! So I'd like to raise a glass once more in finishing our meeting. Blessings to you all. Blessings to everybody for Pagan Federation International, and in Scotland and everywhere, Pagan Federation in Scotland and Northern Ireland as well. May the gods bless you and keep you all safe for the next 50 years and beyond. Blessed be.
Hail to you all.